Welcome back to America Tonight. Here is an evening look from Miami, Florida at Brickell Key, courtesy of EarthCam. Let me tell you, Brickell has slowly transformed its skyline with taller and taller financial and residential buildings. It has grown so much. I grew up in Miami. I'm from there, and it blows my mind every time I go back to see how much development there's been. But this area in particular is concerning because there's some effects with climate. You see that water right there, and it's an area that's prone to flooding, which, speaking of climate situations, a sweltering heat wave is baking parts of the U.S. Triple-digit temperatures are scorching parts of the Southwest, including Arizona and Texas. The Midwest and Northeast also seeing record-breaking heat for June. Forecasters expect the extreme conditions to continue possibly for the next week. Heat warnings and advisories are impacting dozens of cities and millions of Americans. Some of the most extreme heat happening today in New England, where the mercury topped 98 degrees near Caribou, Maine, 97 near Concord, New Hampshire, 96 in Mount Mansfield, Vermont, and 98 near Lawrence, Massachusetts. Wow. Extreme heat is behind a jump in emergency room visits every summer and an increasing number of heat-related deaths in the U.S. every year, twice as many, in fact, as tornadoes and hurricanes together. Heatstroke and heat exhaustion are the main culprits, with emergency help needed immediately for either condition. Let's bring in America Tonight medical contributor Dr. Omer Awan. The Department of Health and Human Services reporting a rise in heat-related deaths. It was about a 44% increase from 2021 to 2023. I did not know that. How prepared are our health systems to deal with such an increase?
Well, I think we're prepared, Lauren, but the issue is that not many of us know what heat-related illnesses are, and not many of us can recognize what they are. So very important for us to educate the general public about what the symptoms are for heat exhaustion, heat stroke. And heat exhaustion and heat stroke, as you just mentioned, are two very common heat-related illnesses. And typically those who have heat exhaustion, they can't get rid of or dissipate heat enough from their body. So they may have things like a slightly high temperature, headache, dizziness, maybe muscle cramps. But heat stroke, on the other hand, is a little bit more serious, and it's a life-threatening condition. So that's when your body temperature gets to 104 degrees Fahrenheit. You may start to get confused. You may even be disoriented to time, to where you are. And even worse, you may become unconscious and get a coma. So if you get any of these symptoms, or you see your family members or loved ones with any of these symptoms, it's extremely important to get immediate medical attention and go to the emergency room as soon as possible so you can get treated.
We talk about populations most vulnerable to these heat-related illnesses. You hear about the elderly, children, unhoused people. What risks are of most concern for each group?
So all of them, as you just said, children, elderly, those with chronic medical conditions like maybe diabetes, cardiovascular disease, lung disease, and even workers. We often don't talk about construction workers that are working outside. And even athletes that are playing sports outside. They are extremely vulnerable to heat-related illnesses. And this is often because they're not able to dissipate heat or get rid of heat in a timely fashion, or they may not sweat enough so that their body cools. So these are all major risks, and these are the populations that I'm very concerned about. And particularly those who are also can't afford certain basic things that we take for granted. So things like air conditioning, being in cool areas, we can take that for granted, but there are many individuals, many Americans that don't have access to these things. So Very important to consider all those populations when we talk about heat-related illnesses.
Well, and we certainly hear quite often when we have these conversations about drinking water, staying hydrated. 30 seconds left here. As somebody who does not like drinking water, needs some encouragement, why is this a step that is crucial, and are there alternatives to staying hydrated?
It's absolutely crucial, Lauren. And we hear this from our mothers, from everyone around us that, drink 8 glasses of water a day. And that's absolutely true. In this case, even if you're not thirsty, when you feel thirsty, it's often too late and your body is dehydrated already. So really try and drink 8 glasses of water every day in the summer. And if you're working outside, if you're playing outside, you need to drink more. 8 is the minimum, right? So 10 or 12 glasses of water is what you really need. And very important for you to stay in cool areas. And if you do need to work outside or you do need to play outside, try to plan your outdoor activities in the areas and the time when, the peak sun is not there. So maybe in the early morning or late evening. So if you could do all those things, we can hopefully change the tide in preventing heat-related illnesses.
Okay, you're like, stay hydrated, drink that water, Lauren. Don't avoid it. America Tonight medical contributor Dr. Omer Awan, thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thanks, Lauren.
Now, coming up, we're looking ahead to tomorrow on America Tonight. That includes what opinions the Supreme Court could release and what they could mean for democracy. Stay with us.